do by substitution? Why is it weird? What makes the first one hard when I said do it by substitution? There's no coefficient with the 1. So I have to change the way this looks, yes? To change the looks, I can multiply or I can divide, yeah? Which one would be a good one to do? If I multiply, they're going to get bigger than 1, aren't they? So I don't want that, so it must be division, yes? Which one should I divide? If I divide this one by 3, I would get x as 1, wouldn't I? But that would give me a fraction and a fraction, wouldn't it? If I divide this by 4, that would give me y as 1, but that would give me fraction, fraction, so that's no good. If I divide that by 2, can I divide that by 2? Can I divide that by 2? So that's what I should change, yes? If I divide all of this by 2, I end up with x plus 4y equals negative 14. And there is my x by itself. Now is substitution easy? Yeah. Because x equals negative 4y minus 14. So what can I do with that x now over here? I can plug that in. So it's 3, negative 4y minus 14, plus 4y equals negative 10. Negative 12y minus 42 plus 4y equals negative 10. 12y, negative 12y plus 4y is negative 8y equals the 42 comes over there and becomes positive equals 32. So what does x equal? Or sorry, what does y equal? What does y equal? Negative 4. Once you know what y is, what can you do right there to find x? I can sub it in. Negative 4 times negative 4 minus 14. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Minus 14 is 2. So what's my answer? 2, negative 4. And you can check it. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. Is 6 minus 16 negative 10? 2 times 2 is 4. 8 times negative 4 is negative 32. 4 minus 32 is negative 28, so it's correct. Is everybody good? All right. What's weird about the bottom one to do elimination for? The fractions make it weird, yeah? So, what should I do? What could I do? I need to change the way it looks, yes? Right? And to do elimination, I need to get the same number in front of either x or y, yes? So what could I do to get the same number in front of x or y? Emma. If I multiply the thing with the fractions by 10, I end up with what? What's half of 10? 5x plus 6y equals 40. Now, do I have the same x's? Are they different signs? So I should subtract or add? Subtract. So if I take this, I forgot the 0. If I take this and come over here, then I can just subtract, can't I? What's 5 minus 5? Gone. What's negative 8 minus 6? Negative 14 at y equals what's negative 40 Negative 50 minus 40. Negative 90. Does that work perfectly? 90 divided by 14, does it work? Can't do it in your head, so where do you go? And what do you get? Doesn't work, does it? It's going to give you a decimal, isn't it? So, can you use that decimal? Is that okay? Yeah, you just got to plug it back in, just like we would do any other time. Or you can leave it as a fraction. As a fraction, it's 90 over 14, which is 45 over 7. Then what would you do with that fraction? Where would it go? In for y. And then you would solve for x. Right? So that would be 1/2 x plus 3/5 45 over 7 equals 4. And then you would just do math. 3 and 7 don't cancel, but 5 and 45 become 9 and 1. So 1/2 x plus 27 over 7 equals 4. 1/2 x equals, this is 28 over 7, right? 4, 28 over 7 is 4. So when I bring that over, that becomes negative, yeah? So 28 sevenths minus 27 sevenths is 1/7. Then how do I solve that? Divide by 1/2, which is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So x equals 2/7. There's my x, and there's my y. Really hard question, guys. I did it to you on purpose. That's why it's not worth anything. But do you have all the skills you need to do it? Of course. You just forget how to work with fractions, some of you. But you could always work with decimals. Everybody cool? All right. Remember, I did say there were these two puzzle sheets. If anybody wanted extra practice, did anybody do them? Yeah. You want to hear the jokes? Yes, sir. Why does the president put his vegetables in a blender? Which, of course, doesn't apply now, because I bet Donald Trump doesn't even eat vegetables because he acts like a baby all the time. So I bet he doesn't eat his vegetables. Yes, I saw that. What I think is funny is anybody who has done any sort of research into the fast food industry in the United States knows that the food itself is poisoned, no matter what. But whatever. For example, any of you that eat frozen fast food, which is every fast food or restaurant except Wendy's, they freeze those burger patties using ammonia. Ammonia is ammonia. Ammonia is the ingredient in cat urine that makes it smell the way it smells. Oh, it's delicious, I know. Yum, yum. Nothing quenches thirst like a big old jug of cat urine. Anyways, the joke here, he puts his vegetables in the blender because he wants to see world peas. World peace, world peas. And this joke was, what's this one? Did you hear about the farmer who fed his cow bird seed? I can't remember the gag. He fed his cow birds, damn.
I want to know what happened now.
Oh, right. He fed his cows bird seed so he could sell cheap beef.
I get it.
Cheap?
Cheap.
Anyways, if you could all turn to page 244, we'll talk about word problems. Now, all of you will say, word problems are the worst, I can't do them. Why do we have to do them? There's no such use in real life for word problems. And you're absolutely right for the way word problems used to be written. things like that, making fun of the old style word problems. A train leaves St. Louis at 10 a.m. Another train leaves Chicago at 11:30. Train A is traveling at 87 kilometers an hour. Train B is traveling at 94 kilometers an hour. When will the trains crash into each other in a bloody fiery mess?
The important.
Right? You remember, you've heard jokes, you know questions like that. And indeed, I even have questions like that here for you. But perhaps if you turned around and sat at your desk, he wouldn't bother you and you wouldn't need to say, Jason! Yeah, you did. I know she did. I heard her. I have ears. Thank you. Now, of course, those questions are garbage questions. They are completely useless in the real world. However, the skills you use to solve that problem are then applicable to real-world problems which you may indeed face. Much like when you go to football practice and they make you run the tire drill or a ladder drill, you are not going to run down the field like that, but it helps with footwork. So, we are going to answer some of those idiotic questions because they do indeed help you with your skills to answer questions that you may face in life. And there are lots of examples of questions where you may be comparing two different things. And you may be trying to find out what is the best, for example, combination of those two things. And that is the type of thing that these skills will allow you to do. You may not ever in your life need to find the two unknown numbers. As a matter of fact, you won't ever need to find two unknown numbers using a system of equations, ever in your life. However, you may have a business, and that business may sell grapple grommets and hinkty-poos, and you may trying to find out how best to optimize your profits in that business. Should you spend your time trying to sell your grapple grommets, or should you try to spend your time selling your hinkty-poos, or should you try to find a combination which gets you the most money? Of course you would. But when you are trying to make that decision, you are indeed comparing two sets of data, aren't you? The data of the grapple grommets and the data of the hinkty-poos. And if you do not have the skills that these questions will give you, then you will have difficulty making those decisions later in life. More likely, you will pay someone else to make those decisions for you, which is really stupid because you're making that decision to try and get more money. Right? All right. So that is my preamble in which I remind you that when you get to this question and one of you has that urge to say, when am I ever going to use this in real life? You don't. Even though one of you will say it. Okay? Okay. Let's go. This is, as always, because you already know how to do this, I have put everything you need right here. This is all you need to do. Identify what you are looking for. So, if it's going to be a system, what I am looking for, this is unknown, isn't it? And in math, if something is unknown, what do we give it? We always use x, but what is that really? A variable. We always give it a variable. We always use x, but that's only because we're used to it. We could put any letter we want. So you have to find your unknowns, and you have to give them variables. Now, the reason word problems are difficult for you guys is you refuse to do this next thing that I am highlighting. Well, that I tried to highlight, but my high-end computer won't finish the highlighting right now. You refuse to do this step, which is write a let statement. Here is what I mean by that. Write out a sentence and you will have no problem doing any word problem ever. So let's do this first step with the first question. The sum of two numbers is 176. Their difference is 48. Find the numbers. What is the unknown here? There's two numbers we don't know. So how many variables do we need? 2, because there's two numbers, right? So let x equal number 1. Let y equal number 2. Easy peasy lemon squeeze. It doesn't have to be a big sentence. You're not getting paid by the word. Just write it out. Next, write two equations. Each sentence produces an equation. Well, is that a sentence? Yeah. Does it give us an equation? Sure it does. The sum of the two numbers is 176. What math is sum? Adding. One number is x, the other number is y. So x plus y equals 176. Is that a sentence? What does it tell us? When you subtract, you get 48. So it would be x minus y equals 48. Now, do you have a system? Solve it. Do I care what method you use? No. Should you ever use graphing? Should you use graphing? Why? Why is graphing a bad idea? The numbers might not be exact, and graphing takes a lot longer. Personally, I think. Got to put it in slope-intercept form, make the graph, draw the lines, find the cross. To put it in slope-intercept form, you just got to do algebra anyway. So why not just do algebra in the first place and get the answer? What one are you going to use here? Elimination or substitution? Carlin wants to use elimination. Why? Because the coefficient right there, they're opposite. I can eliminate y right away, can't I? Right? Could you also do substitution? Sure, because if I move that y over there, then I have what x equals, don't I? Some of you yesterday told me you preferred substitution. Some of you yesterday told me you preferred elimination. Which one are you going to do? Go. I, of course, which one do I prefer? Oh, it hurts that nobody listens to me. Elimination. So I'm going to add these. 2x equals 224. So x equals 112. Once I know what x is, what can I do? Put it back in. 112 minus y equals 48. Actually, I wouldn't do that one. Sorry. I would use the first one. 112 plus y equals 176. So y equals 64. And then I'm done. Now, many of you were taught other ways to solve this particular problem in earlier grades. A lot of people have a shortcut to doing this problem. And that's wonderful, except that shortcut often doesn't work for other systems. It works real well for these number systems. Right? Whereas what we just did will work for what kind of system? Every system. Everybody understand? So let's look at the second one, because it's a little bit harder. 4 chocolate bars, 3 pops cost $5.30. 2 chocolate bars, 1 pop cost $2.20. What's the price of each item? What are my unknowns? I don't know the price of the chocolate bar, and I don't know the price of the pop, right? So, what it would be a good statement? Let what? You want to use X and Y? Let X equal the chocolate bar. And let Y equal the pop. I would use P and C myself, but whatever. Doesn't matter, does it? Now, what do I know about this situation? What does that sentence tell me? Yep. The one I just highlighted. What does that tell me? 4 X's plus 3 Y's 5.3. I don't need that 0. What does the green sentence tell me? Which I can't highlight, so I will just maintain my calm. What does the green sentence tell me? 2x plus 1y to 20. What do I have right there? A system. I have 3 ways to solve it. Why would I really not want to use graphing on this one? Because there's decimals. So I'm going to use one of the others. What should it be? I would use substitution here because of that. I don't want to change these to make them good for elimination because of those decimals, in case I screw it up. It's already set up nicely for substitution because y equals 2.2 minus 2x, doesn't it? Now, what can I do with that? It can go right there. Highlight in pink, highlight in pink. Pink was a bad color choice to use. Why do you guys mock me like that? I'm only doing the colors to make it easier for you guys. It's hurtful, I tell you. Hurtful. Actually, pink wasn't so much the bad choice. It was the red ink underneath that was the bad choice. Damn. Anyways, go ahead. Let's work that out. 4x plus 3, not y. What's really going there? 2.2 minus 2x equals 5.3. And then you would solve. Once I have x, what can I do with that and that? So, how much is a chocolate bar? $0.65. And how much is a pop? 90 cents. And you can tell that that's an old question, because ain't no chocolate bars and pops, not 65 and 90 cents anymore. If you go to the dollar store, you can often get those weird Shasta Pops for 50 cents a can. Yes, I don't actually know where they come from. One time at a dollar store recently, I saw chocolate pop. I did not buy it because when I was younger than you guys, chocolate pop existed, and it tasted like, it just tasted bad. It was appallingly awful. But when I was your guys' age, a pop existed called 7-Up Gold, which was 7-Up, but it looked like ginger ale, but it tasted like cinnamon.
Wow, that's weird.
And you'd think it sounds bad, but it wasn't. It was pretty delicious.
It's like a lot of things, though.
It was pretty delicious. Now, if you ever find yourself in Mexico, they have jarritos, which have every flavor of pop. And they're awesome, except tamarind. Tamarind is gross. What is up with you guys in tamarind? Do you like pulparindo? Yeah. You like pulparindo? Yeah. You do? I bought my homestay student 2 cases of pulparindo, watermelon and mango. And it's tamarind, flavored like watermelon and mango, but it's also spicy. It's very weird. But you get used to it. You can get guava pop, you can get pineapple, you can get banana. What other Jarritos flavors are there? Orange, cola, strawberry, apple? I've never seen apple. Ooh. Oh, grapefruit? Grapefruit? Apple, really? I love Jarritos. All right. Turn the page over. And now it is time to start letting go of your hands. What are the variables you would use for number 3? What are the 2 unknowns? So you don't know the startup fee. And what else don't you know? The monthly fee. So there's 2 unknowns. So I have to have how many variables? 2. Excellent. What should they be? X and Y. All righty. Now, what are the equations? Each sentence gives you an equation. The yellow one is right there. After 1 month, Jen's paid $260. So, how many startups has she paid? 1. 1 startup. Plus how many months has she paid? 1 month. And what did that equal? 260. After 6 months, how many startup fees has she paid? 1, because you paid it at the start. Plus how many months? 6 Ys. And what did that equal? 435. There's your system, right? Now, then you would solve it. We're not going to solve it right now. I'm going to go to the next question. You guys are going to come back and solve these later. Number 4, investment ones. These ones cause a lot of trouble. What there is the problem? Everybody has trouble with percent. I don't really know why. What does percent mean? Over 100. So every time you see 8%, any percent, you just divide it by 100, and then you have a decimal, then you're in business. But everybody has trouble with these questions. What is the 2 unknown things here? Read the sentence, see if you can figure out what is the 2 unknown things. How much he invested at each rate. So there's 2 investments, yes? There's investment 1. And there's investment 2. Since I have 2 of them, how many variables do I need? 2. X and Y. Now, let's make some equations. What do I know about the investments? How much did he invest? 2,000. Do you know how much went into each? No. This is why it's difficult, see? He invested $2,000. How much did he put into the first investment? Do you know? No. X plus Y equals what? 2,000. That's how much money he invested, yes? What else do I know? He earned 8% a year and 10% a year. Well, what's 8%? 0.08 of the first one plus 0.1 of the second one equaled what? $190. Now, what makes that a very difficult system to solve? The decimals. Can you get rid of the decimals? What are you allowed to do to any equation you want to make it look prettier to work with? Multiply. How would I get rid of this decimal? What would I need to multiply to get rid of 0.08? Multiply by 100. If I multiply this by 100, I get 8x plus 10y equals what? Because this is where everybody makes a mistake. Everybody gets rid of the decimals, but they forget that they multiplied the whole thing by 100, didn't they? So does it equal 190 anymore? What does it equal now? 19,000. And there is a system without decimals that you can solve. Everybody cool? Now, next year in grade 11, you guys will actually talk about investing in interest. The point I'm using right here is just to, like I said, get you handy with the skills. All right? Now, you got two systems to solve. Go ahead and solve them. They're both on the screen at once. You can solve either one using whichever method you want. And then you're going to start working on the assignment, on page 425. And I will, or 246 and 247. And I will highlight a couple of those ones that are good ones to make sure you do. But do these two first. Whew. Sure. Would anybody like to volunteer what method they chose for number 3? You didn't do both. You did neither. Then I would be wrong. No, I would be happy because he did some work. But based on my experience with him, I am betting that his sheet looks at best exactly like what I already wrote here. At best. I am betting there is nothing written on there that he did yet. Not even what I wrote. See? People tell me I don't know the students. What people use here? I would use substitution because this right here, y equals 260 minus x, or x equals 260 minus y. And then you take that down to here. Bathroom run now. It's a lot of work there, right? It's tiring. Got to go get a drink, got to rehydrate, talk to your friends. I know, I get it. I read you. I got you, man. X plus 6 times 260 minus X equals 435. X plus 1200, 1560 minus 6X equals 435. Negative 5X plus 1560. Is it 1560? I didn't have my calculator. Equals 435. Negative 5X equals, that's got to be minus 1560. So minus 4 and it would be 1160. 1115. Is that right? Somebody with a calculator, is that right? I'll just check it. 435 minus 1560. 1125, damn. And then I divide both sides by negative 5 to get what X is. So what's my startup fee? And then what do I do with that? I put it right up there. And I can do that in my head. Y equals 260 minus 225, 35. The monthly fee is $35. That's quick. Buddies already in the hall? Your buddies were already in the hall? Oh. Well, I apologize then. What would you use here? You going to use substitution again? That's cool. You could also do elimination by multiplying either of these by 8 or 10, right? Doesn't matter. Y equals 2,000 minus X, and then you just go through it. All right. Now, once again, actually, you know, it doesn't even matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I would recommend doing 6 to 7 of the next two pages. 6 to 7 questions. Doesn't matter which ones you do. Why doesn't it matter which ones you do? Because the skills are the same in all of them. Everybody cool? All right. Now, just to remind you, Friday, I lie. Thursday, it's assignment. Friday, it's mark and begin reviewing. Tuesday, it's finish review and X blocks next week. X block Tuesday is the last cumulative. Cumulative number 3. But it's optional. And I remind you all that if you can't get here on Tuesday, but you do still want to write a third cumulative, just come in one of the other X blocks. Oh, I'm sure you will, buddy. I'm sure you will. Because you guys care so much about your math. That's true. That's true. You came back after a vacation. Yep, that's true. Huh? Plus, there's an X block tomorrow as well. I understand. No.